This video is sponsored by War Thunder.
You are infected. The virus is in your body now. It's only a matter of time before. In Project Zomboid, there is no cure. But what if that wasn't the case? What if there was a way out? I've installed a mod that lets you work towards a cure for the zombie virus, but it isn't easy. You need knowledge, equipment, resources, hard work, and time. Time is something I don't have. The virus will kill me in 1 week. The first few days aren't so bad. After day 3, things get serious. Your life begins to fade until day 7 arrives and you become one of them. This is Edward, a doctor, bitten, infected. He isn't done yet, and this is his story. Day 1. I needed to work fast. I needed equipment. The hospital? No, that wasn't an option. I had to work with what I had. I would make my own workstation here. Got a good look through the house, but the pain was real. I took some pills. First thing first, tools. Across the street there was a shop, but they wouldn't make this so easy, of course. I singled them out, isolating them. I had to bring them individually. Combat wasn't my specialty. I managed to get into the tool shop. This was fundamental to get my research station running. Duct tape, wire, nails, safety glasses, every single thing was necessary. There was a lot to be done. I needed to create a workbench, chemistry station, furnace, microscope, centrifuge, spectrometer. The sheer amounts of materials I needed was huge. Not only this, but I also had to train my medical skills further. I had no time to lose. Thankfully, I was in Louisville. The good thing is there's plenty of resources. Bad thing, well, I got out of there carrying so many things that my body was crumbling. I left everything back home. Then, the window. First zombie that tried to get in. I had to block line of sight quickly, and if I could, barricade myself. But there was no time. With each movement of the clock hand, my life was closer to its end. A sledgehammer, a crowbar, load was good, but was it enough? On my way back, I got their attention. I was at a disadvantage. Over encumbered, I tried to stand my ground, but it was futile. I dropped what I could, hit by hit, with patience, measuring each single blow. More zombies. Even more. The noise attracted them. I turned back, I ran, I climbed the wall and dropped my suitcase. Came back to grab it just in time. Overloaded, agitated, exhausted. I didn't dare to look behind my back. I turned in the next corner and went home. I caught my breath, rested, and moved on. I put some sheets over the windows. It was time to work. This was going to be my workshop. First step, the workbench. I checked which materials I had and which ones were missing. Disassembled watches, radios, TVs, CD players, piece by piece. Next, I needed metal, but the tools were missing. That was next. Had to take some pills that night, just to be able to sleep. Woke up around 4 a.m. Made my way to a pharmacy up north. I grabbed the most important things. They were in. The back door was locked. I panicked, tried to escape through the front door. Got stuck, but I squeezed through and fell to the floor. Got back up. No escape. I counted. 3, 2, 1. Now, shaking, I made my way out. That was almost it. I was careless. I mean, what would you do if you knew how much time you had left? Would you remain calm? After taking some pills, I entered the storeroom. Grabbed some planks to build a workbench. It seemed that I was in some sort of market. Got some materials and tools. Propane torch, welder mask, just what I needed, alongside some metal. My body was on the verge of collapsing, but I carried everything I could with me. This slowed me down. Sets were really close. I tried climbing, but it was pointless. I could hear them. I went inside another house, laid down in the backyard to catch a breath, and waited out the horde. Home again. I had everything I needed. This moment was of utmost importance. A light in the middle of darkness. My workbench was a reality. This would allow me to assemble new equipment. First in line, a muffled furnace, which I would use to melt shattered glass into flasks and tubes. I needed to get even more metal, so I did. Taking apart refrigerators and ovens, house by house, room by room, until I ran out of fuel. That night, I grabbed my suitcase and went on my way. Tried to avoid travel where I could, minimizing risks, not taking any chances. I found some chemicals in a storeroom inside a building. This was essential for my work on the Serum. At midnight, I left everything back home. Spent a few hours scavenging the nearby houses for anything useful. That had its consequences. Once I finished, I ran into a barbecue with a full propane tank. Now I was finally able to finish gathering the metal sheets I needed. Only thing remaining was a car battery, and with that, the muffled furnace was fabricated. Piece by piece, I collected enough to manufacture my first few flasks and tubes. Symptoms were about to start kicking in soon. I was on edge, kept breaking and melting. To make use of them, I needed to set up a chemistry set. Just a few metal bars, some wood, put everything up together, and there it was. Development. I was running out of space. I needed to expand, so I did. Brought down those walls. After setting up the blaze, I assembled a centrifuge and a microscope. Things were taking shape. Now the actual testing. Before I could even attempt to find a cure, I needed to buy some time, live with the infection long enough to get somewhere. I needed to create a serum. This involved a complicated process. To create the first injection, I needed sodium hypochlorite, blood plasma, and leukocytes. First, I mixed some hydrochloric acid with sodium hydroxide and water. The leukocytes were a bit more complicated to get. I needed ammonium sulfate. I gathered my safety goggles, got an apron, and carefully mixed sulfuric acid, ammonia, and water. This was half of what I needed for the leukocytes. Next thing I had to get was blood. For the corpse autopsy, the one thing I was missing was a scalpel, which I got in a quick run to the nearby pharmacy up north. A paramount step in this research, the first corpse autopsy. The key in defeating the infection were them. They had the secret, the code I needed to break, to solve. Would I be able to save myself? Save others? Was there a chance for humanity? This was another chapter. The corpses had to be fresh, no more than 12 hours since death. Each Z I struck had a new purpose. Each blow I landed had a different meaning. Each corpse I left was analyzed. The process would be arduous. The blood needed to be intact, pristine, no tainted blood. Every zombie I saw, I killed, and I got greedy. Death made sure to keep me in line. A reminder, I could be infected, but I wasn't immortal. Limping. Came back to the lab. I divided the blood into components using the centrifuge. Got cells and plasma. With the help of the microscope, I extracted the leukocytes from the blood cells. I had everything. The first true test. A milestone. If this worked, maybe there was a chance. A chance in this race between me and death. And just before I started walking, my body, inside, I felt it. It was happening. I was beginning to turn, slowly. My life was fading. Quickly, I mixed ingredients and made the shot. If the research was correct, the serum would give me an additional 24 hours before symptoms returned. I cooled myself, took the clothes off, and did it. The serum worked. I couldn't believe it. This was a big step for humankind. The road to a cure will be tough, but I was ready. Rain was pouring down my bloody jacket. I barely could distinguish the silhouettes of the undead in front of me. My blows were guided by their screams. Although my visibility was impaired, the path ahead of me was clear. I needed two things: glass and blood. The storm didn't stop me, dissecting each and every corpse over pools of water, crushing skull after skull. It could take me hundreds, maybe thousands. The field work was fundamental, but one must never forget the theory behind it either. I went to the nearby library and grabbed every single book that could aid me in my research. To carve a new path, one must build upon the legacy of others, combining both mind and muscle. I didn't have the luxury to choose. I had to put myself out there. I had to look death into its eyes, facing risks, learning, adapting, changing. After all, I was a stranger in their world. In a way, I was the intruder. Day 6. The feeling returned. If I was to conduct this investigation further, I had to find a way to improve the serum, a stronger booster. but tunnel vision can be dangerous. I was too busy thinking about the research that one of them got inside my own house. I let my guard down. The key in survival is maintaining balance, stability, poise, paying attention to every front. I manufactured the second serum. It wasn't better than the one before though. I stored it in the freezer and the cycle went on. Blood, glass, food, research. Corpses were piling up. That putrid air isn't a good thing to breathe. Growth. With the hard work and the right mindset, the reward eventually arrives. That night, my body was shaking. Woke up past midnight, used the second serum, calm for a moment.
I try to convince myself that things would get better. It's easy to criticize from where I am, but I can't help but think that if the military had been better prepared, things could have been different. In some ways, it made me think of War Thunder, where you get to step into the boots who command these powerful machines, in the most in-depth vehicle combat game ever made, available for free on PC and consoles. Taking command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters and ships from the 1920s to modern fighter jets and battle tanks. Immerse yourself in the intense combat with detailed vehicles, realistic graphics and authentic sound effects. Join over 70 million players worldwide in PvP battles with high-quality content to discover. There's no game better suited for fans of military history. War Thunder features a comprehensive customization system with countless camouflages, historical markings, and decorations for all types of vehicles, including community-created ones. My personal favorite thing? Destruction effects. Play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation or Xbox by using my link in the description or pinned comment. New and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, an exclusive vehicle decorator, Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. It's available for a limited time only, so don't miss it. With the knowledge I gathered, I felt ready to attempt to make an improved variant. This would give me more time. To refine my analysis methods, I needed to set up an autopsy table. With my welding mask and propane torch, I got all the metal I needed and set up everything in my lab. Went outside to look for a subject to analyze, a single target. I brought it back and began the autopsy. This was definitely better than working in the middle of the flooded street. I had to use a garbage bag to move everything outside. The bin was too small to fit everything there, so I left it on the side. More reading and testing and mixing and extracting again and again. This improved booster required more resources than the first one. I even ran out of flasks and tubes. Had to reuse old ones by disinfecting them, but after a lot of hard work, I was finally able to synthesize a stronger dose. Maybe all of this wasn't in vain. I stored the serum in the freezer down below. I spent the rest of the day gathering the remaining tap water from houses nearby. Water services had shut down recently. Thankfully, I still had electricity. I boiled the water and used it to sterilize the remaining dirty flasks and tubes. Only thing left undone was cleaning the autopsy table. I had to find some bleach and towels to be able to use it again. I scavenged every single bathroom in the vicinity. Found some towels, but no bleach. Nevertheless, I kept working on the field. No corpse was left behind. Every single one was analyzed. No hesitation. I felt comfortable being surrounded by the frantic bloodshed. I was no stranger to confrontation anymore. No more hiding behind papers, desks and books. I looked forward to wiping them out, taking up arms against them. Their remains lying down on the streets were a testament to my new self. This heightened my senses. It drove my will. This was warfare, and I was going to exterminate them. I wouldn't give up. We weren't done yet. Humankind would rise again. I needed to refine my station, go beyond, not to meet but exceed my goals. I needed more. The next morning, the infection crawled back, but I was fixed on beating it. I injected the improved serum into my body. It felt good, and it kept me thinking. I managed to manufacture a set of pills that contained part of the booster shot. They won't replace the injection, but will be useful in just a little bit more time. Everything was coming together. With all of the experience and discoveries I've made, I felt ready to make an advanced neutralizer. This creation will be the key to finding a final solution. I finished scavenging the nearby buildings and went to the lab. The process felt so natural to me now. My hands were moving without me even thinking. I was 2 steps forward, mixing, extracting, dividing, learning, gathering,
cleaning, working, and... No. How? People. Was this real? A rescue? I wasn't ready. My work wasn't finished. What if they weren't here to save me? What if they were here to kill me? I couldn't risk it. Not now. Not yet. I had to continue my work. I kept going. The sound went away. The new shot was almost finished, but there was one thing missing. I needed new equipment. Chromatograph. I had to expand even more, breaking barriers, defying limits, assembling my own destiny by hand, taking what I needed. It was ready. I had the basis, the core for creating a cure for the zombie virus. I synthesized the advanced booster. This was the final stretch. The cure was almost in my hands. I felt unstoppable, alive. One last push. They were the prey now, one after the other, blow after blow, from sunrise to nightfall, page after page. No matter the rain, no matter the darkness, no matter how many, I persevered. Rinse and repeat, polishing, refining, evolving, growing. Day after day, no hesitation. Determined to end this once and for all. A new beginning, a new opportunity, reaching new grounds, new frontiers. No matter, I was going to end it. And so, after the harrowing uphill battle that I endured, I synthesized the cure for the zombie virus. The key to stop the end of the world. Now I need to get it out there, but I'm trapped. All roads are closed. There's no way out. For this challenge, I have to reach 4 stations connected to the emergency broadcast system. Use the EVS to get my message out.
This is Dr. Edward Ethridge, and I've found the cure.
And then go to the rendezvous point. It's been a month since the incident, and no trace of the virus was left in my body, but the sets were changing, evolving. Day 30. I had to be on the move. It was time to set up a mobile workstation, an RV. This will be my new home. First things you get, gas. Siphoned a bit of fuel from a few cars nearby. Then I hit the gas station. Found some more empty cans. Filled them to the top with gasoline. Left everything back home. And then the power went off. Day 31. Got on my bike and went looking for an RV. They were growing in numbers. It was like swimming through an endless ocean of death. Nonetheless, I kept going, non-stop. After a couple hours, I ended up in the parking lot, and that's where I found it. I pulled over next to it and realized this was no joke. The screeching and howling were calling more of them. A runner almost got me. They were evolving fast. I managed to land some hits, but it was in vain. Wasn't strong enough. Cornered with my back against the metal fence, then surrounded from all sides. Regardless, I made a run for it. Pulled out the gas can as fast as possible, got inside. They were closing in. Tried to hotwire the damn thing, banging on the window. Done. I stepped on the gas pedal as hard as I could, pushing and running over them. I made my exit. Once at home, I checked the vent's condition. Could be worse. There were a few things to fix before hitting the road. After moving the nearby corpses, I started working on the front of the RV. Used some metal sheet to repair the hood. This will help protect the engine in case of collision. After that, I salvaged a windshield in pretty good condition from the car next door, followed by a quick wash. Changed the light bulbs, and finally, repaired the trunk, providing me with much more space for storage. The van was looking much better. Some things could have been improved, but my mechanic skills weren't good enough to do so. Now, time to move my workstation. I had to rearrange the interior. Little by little, I started to bring my equipment. But after the sun went down, they started coming. Out of nowhere, one after the other. From within the darkness, I tried to use the windows to make them trip and fall to the ground, but it was useless. Something was calling them here. The runners were the worst. When you least expected, they jumped on you. It was getting out of control. Made a run around the whole block. Jumped over the fence in hopes of losing them. Seemed to work. Went straight to bed. 5 in the morning, I was awakened by that disgusting, sickening sound. Flesh being ripped apart, bones being crushed. It was driving me insane. What I saw through that window shook me to my core. The bodies were attracting them, luring them. Killing them wasn't enough. Their death made things worse. I had to burn them down, set them on fire, incinerate that filth. I armed myself with everything I had on hand. After a deep breath, I slammed the door open. No, there were too many, too close. What if the house burned down? What if all was lost? I couldn't risk setting all of it on fire. Shooting would be a death sentence. I ran away, draw them around the block. I had to win just a little bit more time, prepare the van and go away. That would be it. No signs of them. Resumed operations. Grab equipment, set it down, and that was it. I had to put this to an end. Couldn't keep running in circles. Not anymore. Skull after skull. Crushed every single one of them, dragging their blood through the pavement. And so, after a long morning of hard work, the station was ready. It was a bloodbath. Before doing anything else, I set them on fire. Pulled every single corpse, one after the other, and finally burned the last of them to ashes. It was a cathartic release. Liberating. A new chapter. I no longer recognized the person I was before. Now, the most important thing, my purpose, the reason why I was still breathing, it was inside that case. The research, the samples, the cure. I had to get it out there. Day 33. Final preparations. Filled the gas tank, brought everything important over to the van, even fashioned myself a makeshift silencer. This was it. It sank in. I was probably never coming back again. Before leaving the city, I had one last stop. Army issue surplus. I felt alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, body after body, dropping like flies. Focus. Don't lose focus. Keep the distance, fall back, and fire again. Calculate every move, like a game of chess. Move after move, shot after shot. Always careful around the runners. That damn filth. Almost lost my balance. Got surrounded. There were too many. I was running out of ammo. I had to take a chance. I stormed right into the store. Was able to grab a couple things before the whole entrance was overwhelmed. Pull back. Quickly. Found some ammo in the storeroom. Again, they broke through. Grabbed the shotgun just in time. Swiftly, I made my way out of the store. Parking lot was clear now. Calm. Went inside the RV. Drank some water. This was good. A shotgun. A hiking bag. Sleeping bag. Just imagine what more I could get in that place. I modified the hiking bag to be able to attach some useful things. The case, some water, and a flashlight. I was exhausted. Next morning, had some breakfast. I needed to get back there. I couldn't resist. The place seemed quiet. It wasn't. I started blasting again and again. They came from behind, barely escaped, and then I got in the van. Even if I had the cure, even if I was immune, that wouldn't stop them from tearing my whole body apart. I couldn't risk humanity's future just for a damn store. It was time to go. I had to leave the city. I had no idea what lurked beyond. Maybe that was what truly scared me. The undead? I could see them from a mile away. But out there, that was the unknown. The journey began, street by street, avoiding wreckage, steering clear of the walkers. As I got further from home, the chaos was much more notable. The mess, the cry for help. Now, just debris. It was like a picture, a moment frozen in time. The moment all went to hell. The remnants of the old world. A shell from the past. All that effort. The military didn't stand a chance. What a nightmare. Felt so powerless. No one knew how big it was. And to be honest, I still didn't. I remember it like it was yesterday. I almost could hear it.
The lockdown is a necessary precaution to control the situation. We have enough to handle as it is.
Are you at work? I don't want to be alone.
I arrived at Westbourne Station. All the doors were locked, so I climbed through a broken window. Carefully, I cleared the first floor. Control room was on the upper floor. Building was secured. The station had no power though. I needed to get it back up and running again. The RV was in critical condition and I was not skilled enough to repair the engine. Only managed to repair the hood, part of it. Next morning, the search for the generator commenced. Had to take my chances. First, I checked the nearby sheds and warehouses. Unfortunately, with no luck. I kept going, but the undead were overwhelming. I couldn't lose now. I wouldn't let them. Against all odds, I would search every damn shed until I got that generator. Pushing non-stop. They wouldn't have me. I was part of something greater. The difference between me and them, I had a purpose. Failure wouldn't stop me, falling and rising again, persisting, no matter how hard it gets. For darkness to exist, there needs to be light. I will bring forth a new future, ignite the fire of life again. Fighting had a cost, a significant setback, but I would find a way. And so, the generator was functional, lights were on. It was time to record the message.
This is Dr. Edward Ethridge, and I found the cure. I repeat, I found the cure. If anybody hears this, send an air unit to the following coordinates.
So many things crossed through my mind. Was anybody out there? I couldn't be the only one lucky to survive. If someone else was infected, I was the target. Should I live the rest of my days here? Stay away from everything? No, I couldn't. I wouldn't give up like that. Next stop, mall draw. I didn't have the required tools to install a new tire. Pushed through as far as I could, but there was nothing else to do. It was settled. With no tires and a dead engine, I had to leave the RV behind. Pulled over and went on. A few hundred meters ahead, I stumbled upon a couple of Zeds near a car. One of them was the owner. They were trying to replace one of the tires, it seemed. There were tools on the floor. Car's condition wasn't great, but definitely miles better than what I had. It even had some gas left. I installed the tire and drove right back to the RV. I wouldn't be able to fit everything, so I moved only the most essential things. That was the last night I slept in there. Next morning, I continued my journey. I had to press on through uncertainty and doubt, a hazy future. Hours later, I arrived at the second station. Checked the building room by room. It was clear. The one next door had a walker banging against the window. I ended him and went inside. Fortune smiled. Small victory. With the second station now functional, there were just 2 more to go. Halfway to changing history. Halfway to changing the future. After all, if I wasn't able to get this out of Knox County, was there even a cure? Did this even happen? Passing by dozens, hundreds, thousands of undead, made my way into Rosewood. The station was located just northwest, following a dirt road. No zombies inside this time. No generator either. I had to scout the town. I needed the station up and running. I started looking, dancing around the sets, searching sheds, garages, every single window, while at the same time not letting my guard down. A ceaseless chase, cat and mouse. It was a game of fortitude, mind, patience. If you slip up, you'll lose. They get ahead of you. You start panicking. You stop thinking properly. You make mistakes. You have to regain your posture and move on. You never know what is waiting behind the next window, but don't let it blind you. Plan, map out your moves, keep your ambition in line and your fear in place. Don't give up hope, see the path ahead of you. Prepare and execute. Don't hesitate, move swiftly, make your hits count and fall back and forth. The Horde never tires, the Horde never sleeps. They are a never-ending force that will try to wear you out until you break. You have to use every tool at your disposal. If it's not today, turn back and try again tomorrow. They are mindless savages. You can think, preserve your life. That's what truly matters. Reflect on what you've learned. Then counterattack. Harder than before, a new strategy, evolving, be unpredictable, be human, learn from the past, build your own future. This is how you survive. After setting up the station, something hit me. I was one step away from the end. Everything built up to this. The message would go out. I'd painted a red cross on my back. I doubted. I considered dropping everything right there, but I couldn't. This was the price I had to pay. I wouldn't choose the easy way, living in isolation the rest of my days. No, I needed this. If this was the way I was going out, then so be it. I was ready, no matter how hard it would get. I was settled on giving humanity another chance, no matter how this started. I knew I would end it. With the right approach and enough time, things end up in the right place. The message was out there. A beacon of hope, a tiny spark, something to hang on to. Only thing left to do was wait. Wait for the consequences. I reminisced about all the events that led to this moment. Wondered about what could happen, every possibility. What if no one came? What if this was my destiny? Existing until the end of my days in this living hell. Always on edge, always running. The horde never tires. The horde never sleeps. There were days where I felt lost. Gone. Just a shell. Isolated. Paranoid. But hope kept me going. The chance of finding someone else. The chance for a better future. And then it happened.
Stop. Drop it. Drop it now.
A broken leg, head bleeding out, glass jars in my body, bullet inside my thigh. Leaning on the remaining strength in me, I ripped what was left of my clothes, used them as bandages to stop the bleeding, pulled the glass shards out. The wound was deep, I'd have to stitch it soon. I crawled through the ground to grab some tree branches, crafted a splint from my leg. The fracture was severe. I checked the bag, everything inside was destroyed, including the cure. Had to seek shelter immediately. Made my way between the swaying trees. A town. Desperate, I went inside the first building I came across. I never appreciated a roof as much as that night. And then I saw it. How? I thought it was contained. The undead were everywhere. Everything was a lie. The exclusion zone. They wanted this to happen. They did this. How far did this go? Was the whole world finished? I took some clothes from the corpse. Between the storm and the colder temperatures, I couldn't risk catching a cold. I'd have to find clothing with proper insulation soon. Spent a sleepless night, contemplating the rain splashes, getting lost in the hypnotic sound of the storm, while trying not to collapse from the immense agony of my broken body. Hours later, the rain stopped. I took a peek, checked my surroundings. The street seemed quiet. Pain was too intense to be able to sleep. Turning a corner, I found the second undead. Pushing through the agony, I shoved the walker to the ground. And then, 3 more sets jumped out of nowhere. It was bad. Juggling between them, using the fences to disrupt their attacks. One of them almost got my ankle, pushed them to the ground and stumped both of their skulls. I felt my whole leg burn. Had to get that bullet out soon. Grabbed the field jacket from one of the corpses. Then proceeded to take care of the 2 remaining walkers. I had to be extra careful. Pick my battles. Couldn't get outnumbered. Always watching over my shoulder. Always on edge. I checked the house room by room. All clear. Grabbed the sweater and drank some toilet water. House was absolutely empty, no loot to be found. No matter, I kept going. On my way out, I encountered another set. Each one was tougher to beat than the last. I was losing my strength. My body couldn't resist this much longer. I carried myself through the street, checked the house just in front. One zombie was waiting, and the second one, and the runner. I had to get away. Shut the door right on their faces. They burst right through. Half a dozen undead were right on my tail. The feral tripped over the fence. One of them almost got me. I shoved and turned away. It was a nightmare. They were faster than me. I couldn't keep up. I could feel their hands on the back of my neck. Just barely. I managed to slam the door behind me, letting me escape through the window from the back. It was a close call. Being outnumbered was a death sentence, not even mentioning the runners. The key was to take them one by one, avoid trouble when possible. If not, divide and conquer, never letting my guard down. I didn't know how long I could last. The agony was unbearable. Slowly, limping, I moved around the house, avoiding the front entrance. Killed a straggler. Street seemed quiet again. Went in. Just one set remained on the place. Unfortunately, doors were locked. Again, no loot to be found. I was starting to get worried. Arming myself with a couple of planks, I kept scouting. If I didn't find food soon, things would get dreadful. Locked. Third house, nothing of use again. Just one metal bar. I was about to pass out, lied on the bed, until I fell asleep. Next morning, I checked the garage, grabbed a couple of things, but what I truly needed was food, medicine. I was starting to panic. This place could be my graveyard. If the zombies wouldn't get me, starvation would. I wasn't going to give up that easily. Checked the second garage. Surprisingly, found a generator. Not much use for it now. Got a couple useful tools. Screwdriver will come in handy. Went to the next house. No food. Just a couple flashlights. It hit me. This place was a ghost town. Nothing left. I couldn't keep losing time. I had to move. Exploring the surrounding area, I ran into a church. The silence was so loud. After following the road for a while, I stumbled upon a wrecked car. It had an empty can in its trunk, alongside a few tools. Further down the road, I discovered some sort of junkyard. Between the wreckage, I was able to find a car in good condition. I got inside and hot-wired it. It was on. Before leaving, I looted a few things from a truck just ahead. Now I had mobility. This finding was crucial for my survival. Having the ability to get in and out of trouble quickly was invaluable. Check the gas station and the restaurant. Places were barricaded or just had nothing left. My life was fading. If I didn't find anything to eat soon, that will be the end of me. The food market. This was it. The place was full of zombies, but I had to get in. It was all or nothing. One by one, I got rid of the wooden crates. A sneaky bastard came from behind. Finally, got the door open. Got lucky. My clothing saved me. Got in the car and killed that set. Then suddenly, all of them got out. I had them right on my tail. Just in time, I got in my car. It was insane. I've never had such a close call like this. Killed all of them. Place seemed secure. Finally found something to eat. I was so desperate that I ate the whole thing, followed by a full can of peanut butter. Back door was barricaded. Checked the second floor. Thankfully, I found around 10 more cans of food. I could live to fight another day. Ended the night checking every single shelf. My tail wasn't finished yet. The minor wounds finished healing the next morning. I still had to stitch my right arm and get the bullet out of my leg. There was no point in staying there. Every shop was barricaded. Houses were empty. I needed to stay well fed to help my body heal. I will starve to death in that ghost town if the undead didn't get to me first. Time to move out. Before leaving town, I grabbed my axe and tore down every barricaded door from nearby shops in hopes of getting a little bit more food. No luck. Although I found a good amount of tools, including a crowbar, and last but not least, a generator. I carried everything to the car, paid a visit to the gas station one last time. After taking care of some unwanted visitors, I managed to get the pumps back up and running. Got as much fuel as possible. On my way out, I stumbled upon a workshop. Seemed clear at first. My heart stopped, took care of it. Nevertheless, I searched the place for anything useful. got the car inside and spent the night there. Being in a workshop, I made sure to take advantage of the circumstances. I repaired the trunk, allowing me to store more things inside it. And then, I stepped outside. That sound. Was it them? Or maybe somebody else? No. My arm. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse. That's it. I had to go away. They saw me here. They could come back, finish the job, but I wouldn't let them. So, I went on my way. I drove into the darkness of the night, surrounded by its oppressive force, an infinite void, nothingness. For hours on end, I kept going forward, guided by the light, carefully making my way through the obstacles. No looking back, just a few meters ahead. That was all I could see, and all that mattered, the now, the present, reacting, avoiding, advancing, always with the constant oppression of the undead, appearing from within the void, born from the darkness. Seemed like they were everywhere at the same time, no matter where I looked. They were waiting for me to slip up, and I did. It almost cost everything. I'm still not sure how I didn't die that day. Couldn't risk another incident. Waited until the sunrise. Finally, shelter. My new safe house. Maybe home. Life seemed clear, spacious, open. As soon as I finished getting all of the things out of the car, I went to sleep. Woke up hours later, in pain. The view was terrifying. It was like staring into death itself, but I would fight back with light. After spending the night studying mechanics, I realized I needed to prepare. I was in for the long run. The first of many weeks of recovery. I needed all my bases covered. I needed food and water. No time to lose. Drove to the new town. This one was totally different from the other one. First house was quite the experience. Got the hell out of there. Searched a couple of houses. Finally a kitchen with food. Living room still had the plates and silverware laid down. Found some tweezers in the bathroom. At long last, I would be able to remove the bullets from my body. Took some useful materials and went back to the house. After so much pain, I was finally able to get those things out of my system. Stitched my deep wounds. Just a matter of time until I healed, but they were nothing compared to the fractures. And so, the cycle went on. Looting house by house, finding bins, cans, tools, weapons, scouting and searching, day and night. The dark streets were frightening, terrors hiding beneath the shadows. Nonetheless, I kept moving, carefully, on edge, watching over my shoulder. My sleep cycle was messed up. Between the pain and the stress, I just had to keep going. Thankfully, it was worth it. All these things would improve my chances of survival. Unfortunately, I was too focused on the task at hand that I forgot to bring backup batteries. My flashlight was dead. Couldn't see a thing. Things were improving. Better insulation. More food. I found my rhythm. No matter the time of day, I would face adversity, slowly gathering more loot, more knowledge, making that place home, indulging in small pleasures, doing chores, crafting new ideas, adapting, creating, transforming. Everything had a use, a purpose, a meaning. I thought about my weaknesses, how to work around them, stealth, distance, learning new skills, putting them to the test, challenging myself, failing, no matter how many times I'd overcome defeat. Loss makes one stronger, seeking constant improvement. Maybe someday I'd be able to stop surviving and start living again. Small steps, welcoming change, contemplating. This may be my new life. I might as well make it as good as possible. Knowing my limits, where to go and where not to go, which places to avoid, how much to risk. As much progress as I made, I couldn't forget that my body was still broken. One small mistake would cost me everything. I still had a long time before healing. They never sleep, they never tire, and I certainly did. A damn close call. I had to be prepared for anything, a last resort. But for the time being, I was safe. I found peace. I was growing. Maybe this was how I survived. It was a miracle to be alive. A raider managed to cut my left eye. I couldn't keep living like this, but I had a plan. If I could get a boat, I could escape to an island, live away the rest of my days in peace. But first, I needed to heal, get supplies, and a boat. I buried the body of the attacker. Seemed to be another survivor. He left me no choice. I needed to fortify my shelter. I took care of the broken window. I started gathering wood, tree by tree, one after the other. Barricaded every single opening. No more surprises. No one was getting in. Even put up a table against the door. I couldn't take any chances. Next morning, I put up some sheets to block line of sight. Had to gather supplies. On my way to town, I encountered a group of Zeds. The gunshot must have brought them here, too close to home. Couldn't let them roam free like that. Cleared the road and arrived shortly after. I had a strange feeling since yesterday. The attack scarred me, not just physically, it was more than that. The walkers were predictable, but a living person. Desperate people are capable of anything. That fear lingered in the back of my mind every second. First building I scavenged was some sort of market. Thankfully, found some food and medicine, checked an ambulance, grabbed everything of use. Any sudden noise made my heart drop. Funny, realizing it was just a walker was a relief. Just busy work, flow through the motions, nothing to worry about. I continued my search through different houses, moving silently room by room, on high alert, looking over my shoulder, ready to react. Outside, I checked every corner, surrounded by the sound of the wind. Proceeded to kill more walkers. Got a propane tank, could come in handy. Slowly but surely, I went on. Gas cans, seeds, dog food, crackers, door after door. No shelf left unchecked, no room left unseen. I returned under the cover of the night. Was running out of storage, but things were looking much better. Or so I thought. I didn't take that shot. I hesitated, felt anger, frustration, but also pity. Should I end another life just for a vehicle? Who knows what that person went through? Who am I to judge who lives and who doesn't? Natural selection will take care of that. But I was no sitting duck. I wouldn't let myself get beaten to the ground. The path ahead was tough, but I was no stranger to misfortune, suffering, and sorrow. The end of the world taught me one thing. You are in control. Things will get bleak, but there's always something you can do about it. Even if it's waking up the next day, that's a step forward, a day one. After all, you're the one who gives life a meaning. Be it feeling the warmth of the sun on your face in the morning, having a nice meal, laying on the grass, having a cold drink, reading a book, or fighting against the undead. From sunrise to nightfall, I cut down those trees, rising a fortress from the ground. Carrying each single log, no matter the fatigue, I kept going. At long last, I finally finished the perimeter. I put up the doors and looked, contemplated. This was an important step, a statement. For myself, no matter how bleak the situation looks, you can make it better. I wasn't going down. With blood and sweat, creativity and thoughtfulness, I designed a rudimentary but effective system for the doors. With a single press of a button, I could open, close, and lock the gate as I wished. No one was getting in, but I was going out. I couldn't remain without a vehicle, especially with my broken leg. I needed to head out, search town, look for a new car. And so, I started walking, slowly limping through the grassland. I'll admit, I was afraid. I was more vulnerable than ever. With the recent attack, the car theft, anything could happen at any moment, from any angle, and I barely could walk properly. I realized I needed to avoid the road, stay away from open spaces if possible, remain close to the trees, but not too much. They were still wandering, waiting to jump when least expected. I kept moving, as swiftly as possible. With my bow and arrow, the Zeds didn't stand a chance. I was confident, but that didn't last. I swear, Life has a dark sense of humor. Using my surroundings, cutting corners, sleeping between the narrow alleyways, vaulting again and again, sneaking through buildings, I managed to lose them. I was exhausted. I had no mobility, no way to defend myself from a distance, and probably there were people nearby. I pushed through the fatigue and kept on looking. I had to find a car. Peeking from behind every corner, I made sure the streets were clear. Disgusting. I still couldn't get used to that sight. I stayed away, kept pushing, checked a few vehicles. They were all destroyed, unusable. The sun was going down and my heart was racing. I needed to get a functioning car quickly. Went southwest, and then, through the fences, I saw it. Maybe this was it. Place seemed clear. Almost clear. The truck was in a pretty rough condition, but I'd make it work. Filled the gas tank, got in, and hot-wired it. I was so relieved. Felt my soul coming back to my body. Drove back home. I made it. I survived to live another day. I saw my car driving away. If only I had taken that shot. This went too far. Couldn't keep going like this. One way or another, I had to put this to an end. I no longer recognized myself. Each time I took away a human life, it was like losing a part of me. I was supposed to save lives, not end them. But I guess the world has changed. Every man for himself, caring for one another. Maybe that was a thing of the past. Couldn't trust anybody no longer. And so, I walked the final steps to a new life, licking my wounds, destroying the old, welcoming the new, reaping what I saw, pondering. I no longer seeked human contact. I dreaded it. Maybe there were good people out there, but in this new world, sooner or later, you become tainted. Person who you were before didn't matter. Truth is, no one was prepared for this. No one saw this coming. In extreme situations, your true self comes out. That's who you really are. In this twisted world, it was survival of the fittest. Maybe someone will prove me wrong. After all, hope is the last thing to die. But I was too tired to keep fighting. I needed a new place to live in peace, and I was going there.
Thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Play for free on PC, PlayStation or Xbox by using my link in the description or the pinned comment. New returning players who haven't played for 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack, including multiple premium vehicles and more, available for a limited time only.